let's pivot, man. Let's talk about the stocks, man. Educate.
Hold on. Before you get there,
Uh-oh.
I want to actually go into the mind of a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
The behind the curtain part, like
Make
the
money.
mentality. No, more so the mentality, because there's also people out there that may be interested in getting into this career path.
Right.
And I will say there's stereotypes out there about realtors as far as they thinking that, oh man, realtors are just all rock star life. They're riding around in their expensive vehicle, just selling homes left and right, getting commission checks. Like they don't see the work on the back end.
Right.
So share with us a little bit what goes on the back end of the deal when nobody's there.
Right.
The door's closed at night. You're in front of your computer or you're on the phone. Tell us a little bit about how the ice cream is made.
Okay. So full disclosure, I'm a part-time realtor, and I've always been a part-time realtor. I don't love that business as far as representing buyers and sellers. I initially got my license just to cut out having to work with realtors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I got the license around the age of maybe 23 or so, before I ever got an investment property, or let's say a flip, because I kind of got an investment property before that. But, I ended up helping a lot more friends and family. And so I averaged six deals a year, 6 transactions a year. I say all that to say, even today, I don't really market much to get clients on the buying and selling side. So I'm not a full-time realtor. I spend more time on the investing side of it, even though I've done it for so many years. Now,
I think that's smart though, because you're educating yourself about the game before you
Right.
get into it. So that way, when you're in it, you know how to manipulate and pivot and everything.
right.
So that's very smart.
It saves you a lot of money. You can make money. I'll buy a property and make money just because I still get a commission. So it's pretty sweet. But I'm very aware of the business of being a realtor. And like you said, pulling that curtain back, man, one, it's very competitive. Okay. It's
Dog eat dog.
It's dog eat dog. It's not easy. Okay. Nobody gives you anything for free in that business. You'll find, realtors jumping from brokerage to brokerage, thinking that it's going to be different. Nobody gives you anything for free in that business. And so if you're not the type of person that's willing to go out and hunt, then that business may not be for you.
So you only eat what you kill.
You only eat what you kill, and it's never an easy catch, aside from friends and family. Now, if you treat this thing like a true business and you market and you're out there networking and connecting, and you got all your social media outlets up there, just like any business, they will come. But it's definitely a very difficult business. You won't start out with a ton of customers, and it takes time to build. For me, I work off straight referrals, but the years that it took to get those referrals, and the type of service that I had to put out to get those referrals. So it's not an easy business to get into. And I don't know the statistics, but if I had to guess, probably most realtors who get licensed probably end up dropping out of the game.
So
because
it's a high
it's not
failure
easy.
rate. Yeah.
It's gotta be a high failure rate because, unless you have that dog in you, it may not be the business for you. But if you're willing to put in that work and you're willing to do things that other people aren't, I'll give you an example. Because I have friends who's become realtors. Door knocking. How many people are comfortable with going into a neighborhood, knocking on people's doors? Not a lot of people are comfortable with that. But believe it or not, that's probably one of the better ways to get business. That face-to-face, that contact.
Because not everybody wants to do it. So you figure, well, I'll do what people aren't comfortable doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those businesses. It's a tough business. But once you put in that work and you get rocking and rolling and you're in there for some time, your leads start coming in and you start getting referrals and recommendations from past clients that you've worked with, it can be very, very lucrative.
So it's not
easy money. I'm gonna put that out there like that. Like I don't know if you could get any easier money than, putting in bed bath count, sending out an email list, and someone saying, "Hey, I want to go look at that one. I like that one," and you writing up a contract.
Right.
And
You get paid off the percentage
of the house.
Of the house. And what's that percentage?
That's a funny conversation. It's been changed. It's been going down a little bit, but the traditional percentage was about 3%. I would say maybe the last 5-10 years, you start seeing more 2.5%. If you get lucky at 3%, now post pandemic, you seeing 2%.
Wow.
So, it's starting to go down, and people are just like any other business. People are saying, well, I'll do it for less. I'll do it for less. Or I'll give you this money. I'll give you that money. And so you'll still see some 3% rarely, but mainly you're going to see 2.5%. And now, and more often than not, you'll see those 2% commissions.
So that means that particular agent, to say, in order to compensate for the drop in the commission, the percentage, now I have to have more deals to make up for that, which involves more work, more labor in order to, if I want to stay in this business. Like you said, there's a high dropout rate. So some people say, I can't do it for this person anymore. It's time for me to cash it on out. And then some new agents come in. So I guess it's just it's a revolving door, where some agents have been around 20, 30 years and some probably can't stand the heat. And I know from talking to you, that you also say in real estate that, you can't get your feelings involved.
Right.
It's not a place if you're going to pout and cry. It's one of those things where you have to put your feelings to the side and you just got to take the punches as they go.
Yeah. And, we all know this. People get funny when it comes to money. People get real, real funny, and it's, you can't, like, I know agents who get to a point where they're ready to cut people off because, you didn't use me or this and that, or, like in that business, I think it's one of those situations where you have to have your complete business hat on, your business face. You got to push a lot of that personal stuff to the side because if not, you'll probably end up lonely. And understandably, like, you got to put yourself in a client's position. Most people buy 1 or 2 houses their entire life. No one's ever, and that's the largest amount of money that they'll ever spend. And so there's going to be a lot of emotions tied to that. Right. A lot of fear. It's just so much that's tied to that business to where, you can't, you have to separate business and personal when it comes to that profession because there's too many emotions involved and you'll find yourself drinking every night.
So it sounds like you got into real estate real early in your life. What was one of those items that you bought just, once you started making some real money? Did you treat yourself to something particular? Was it a watch? Was it some shoes? Was it a car? Did you go to a strip club? What did you buy?
Nah, we won't go to the strip club. My girl watching. I'm black.
Of course.
But nah, I'm going to say one of the purchases that I was not happy about, and this is just the I guess the cheap side of me, even though I'm the opposite of cheap. But I remember maybe it was 2013, and I was making a little bit of money, feeling myself a little bit, and I bought a 2013 Chrysler 300.
Oh yeah,
a
nigga mobile.
Hey, look, I was 22, 23 years old. I was 23 years old.
It was an all white one, right?
It was that all white.
Yeah, I remember that.
Clean.
Yeah,
that was when they first switched the body style up a little bit. And I got that bad boy brand new, and it was a great car. We turned up in that car. We was in the club in that car. With the windows
with that car.
Not the strip club though. Not the strip club. Just the club.
We went to the strip club a couple times. I said, but we was out there, and
I try to clean your name.
Young, using your 20. You was young,
right? But let me tell you this though. That note was high, and I started looking at the finances, and I'm like, insurance high. They kill us with insurance too, by the way. But that's another story.
You don't mind telling us what was the note on that back then?
I don't remember because I've had higher notes since.
Okay.
Upgraded.
But I had another car. I paid off a car before that. And I was like, why am I doing this? And so I went to take it back. I took it to CarMax to say, hey, would I want to take this back. I got another car. It ain't doing it for me like it was doing it for me. I ain't need to spend this money, but I spent
The
this
newness
money.
worn off. The whole
Man, look, I don't remember the cost of the car, but let's just say the car was like $35,000 or something like that. I took that car back in a year, and they offered me something like $18,000 for that car.
They hit you with the GameStop.
Right. Now, granted, I paid 35. Let's just say I paid 35. After a year, you probably owe still what, 33?
Mm-hmm.
And they telling me 19?
Mm-hmm.
So it just became, it was a wake-up call for me. I said, you know what? I'm not buying no new cars again.
I had a similar story. Like I was telling my brother when I got the Dodge Charger.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It was like a 2013 Dodge Charger. I went to look for a car, and it was a nice Toyota Corolla right there. Like, that's the car to get. It's going to last me a long time. It's reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the Dodge Charger right there. And like I told Joe, I said, I had the devil on my shoulder. I said, ball out, nigga. Get the Charger. And, it was like I said, it's a good car. But, in hindsight, I probably should have got the more reliable vehicle.
It just loses so much value, But other than that, man, listen, I'm somebody that I feel like I got the hardest shoe game in Prince George's County.
Yeah.
I will go up against anybody. Matter of fact, put me up against the next 4 states. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, man. I feel like I got the best shoe collection. And so when you just start talking about, money that you spend, let me tell you something. The worst part about having that many shoes, and I got bangers.
Jordan 1s?
Plenty of them. Every time I move and I got to transport all those boxes of shoes.
What's that number? What's all them boxes?
I would probably say the ones in boxes, because I got bins, probably like 70 pair in boxes that I have to transport. And I don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
And so now, as I sit in the house,
I don't even think I've had 70 pairs of shoes in my lifetime.
You're a smart man. So that's probably another regret. But the reason why I don't regret it, though, is because I feel like, first and foremost, you go to GOAT, the app, and see the amount of money that people selling used shoes for. These bad boys is assets, because a lot of them are going for higher than what I paid for. So, I don't shame myself too much for buying things that really, what's the point of buying all those shoes that you're never going to wear anyway, especially if you can sell them for more. And I think over time, it's only going to go up. So that's how I make myself feel comfortable.
What's the most hyped shoe out there to you? Overhyped.
Overhyped?
Yeah, like Yeezy. What's that shoe? Like, man, these things are garbage and everybody's paying,
For me, I like Yeezy. So, I got my fair share of Yeezys. But I would say for me, it's all those Balenciagas. And it's not that it's overhyped, but this is the problem with those shoes. Remember Giuseppe's, and then you had the red bottoms for them. They come in and go out so quick. And you got people out here working at, Metro. Even if you work them, that's not a shot. McDonald's, wherever, making, $1,500 checks every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you buying $1,500 shoes
Yeah.
that ain't even hot no more a year later.
Yep.
I've never been one to buy those. Like, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I could buy plenty of them if I wanted to, but I personally, I too much, and it's too much hype behind them, and they never last.
Would you buy UAs?
UAs? What was that?
We'll keep it moving.
United Airlines?
We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving.
He said, "Hey, I'll buy some stock in United Airlines." So switching gears.
I ain't even buying that. I ain't buying no United. That's not a stock I would buy.
You didn't see that Netflix? Was that United Airlines that had the Netflix movie where the planes were crashing?
No, I don't know nothing
didn't
about
see
it.
that?
Check that out.
Man, okay.
So you said don't invest nothing in United Airlines, then, huh?
I wouldn't. I'm not big into the planes.
So in our previous talk, we was talking about shoes for a little bit. You was talking about flipping shoes. So educate us a little bit about flipping homes. How much you have to pay for property tax, how much time it takes into it. You have to hire contractors. Just educate us on the process.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say about flipping homes is that it's not as easy as HGTV may make it out to be. It's a lot of education that you need to have in order to successfully do it and actually make some money. And I've come to notice recently that a lot of people who may not have that experience are out there trying to flip properties, and it's messing the game up a little bit because, you know, I'll go to a real estate auction at the courthouse in PG County. And now, you know, you have so many different people there and everyone's paying more than what they should be. Even, you know, you as a realtor, you can look on an MLS and just kind of see the properties that normally would go for a certain amount because, you know, the condition, and even those are being overbidded. And so, you know, the first thing I want to say about flipping a home is make sure you know what you're doing. And the most important thing is to know the numbers. There's nothing more important than the numbers when you're talking about flipping a home. You need to know exactly how much that property is worth.
What Jay-Z say,
fixed up.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, right?
Exactly. That's the truest statement in the flipping game. You need to know how much you should pay for a house. That's the most important thing. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. And you don't want to go wrong with flipping a property because you can lose everything. And so it's a dangerous game in that aspect. But you need to know what to pay. You need to know how much the home is actually worth. Okay. You need to literally know exactly how much the home is worth. And the last thing you need to know is how much it's going to cost to fix. These aren't just things that you can jump on Google to figure out. Now, for me, I was fortunate enough to start my flipping career with the help of someone. Okay, who kind of showed me the ropes a bit. But I also at least had the knowledge of, you know, since I was a realtor and a loan officer, mainly the realtor, I knew exactly how much a house was worth. I didn't know how much it would cost to fix up. You know, so I didn't know how much I should pay because I didn't know all the different fees associated with it. You know, I'll give you an example. The house we talked about in Upper Marlboro. I bought that house at a real estate auction for $235,000. Should have sold for $420, but it only sold for $400. Now the average person would look at that and say, "Oh wow, you know, you paid $235 for the house and it sold for $400.
How much work did
That's $165,000 that you made."
It's not in your pocket though.
No, I told you I made $55,000 on it. Dang, well, where the rest of that $110,000 go? You need to know that. You need to know how much money it's going to cost for you to borrow the money. Okay. I used a hard money lender. I didn't use all cash. You got to have some cash. You got to have a good amount of cash. But you need to know how much that costs. You need to know how much closing costs are on both ends, because when you buy a house, you pay closing costs. When you sell a house, you pay closing costs. You know, you need to know how much your construction cost is going to be. You need to know how much your holding costs. Holding cost is, you know, if you borrowed that money, how much you're going to pay monthly on that money, how much interest you're going to have to pay.
Does that include your mortgage as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's your temporary mortgage, I like to say, while you're holding the property. You need to know that, you know, so you need to know the numbers. And once you know the numbers, you know the right price to pay. And once you know the right price to pay, you need you really, really need dependable and good contractors. Okay. That's, for me, I've been fortunate, but that's probably been the toughest part.
I want to dive into that because this house to me is not a flip, but you know, I bought it as a foreclosure. So I had to do some work, and finding good contractors for a good price is hard to come by.
Right.
So how did you go about finding good work?
So when I first started doing the deals on my own, because like I said, I started with someone who was already established in the game.
Was that like your mentor?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And it's one of those stories. We'll probably say that for a whole nother podcast, but you know, it started out great, ended up bad. Massive learning lesson. But I'm still appreciative, because if it was never for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Okay. And so, you know, my first deal or two, I was able to use his people. Okay. And that was when I did the deals on my own. When I was working with him, I was more of a financial guy. You know, I put up part of the money and we kind of rolled with his program. But the contractor that I use now, and I'm always trying to grow it, but you know, I found someone that was really good. And it's funny because the relationship came very organically. I left the mortgage loan business September 19th, 2019.
Okay.
And I had a client in my pipeline who was looking for a home. He was from Belarus. And it's funny because, they're going through so much right now. Prayers up for them, everyone in Ukraine. Even the Russians, man, I'd be very upset if I'm affected because something my leader's doing, but we're not going to talk about that. But this guy, he was looking for a house. I was his loan officer, but I ended up leaving the job because I wanted to pursue real estate investing full time. Now, in conversation with him, he worked for like some company doing something with computer engineering or something like that. In conversation, he told me he did work on the side. And he's only been in America maybe for about 4 or 5 years, but he did home improvement work on the side. And around this time, I was actually looking to sell the condo that I was living in. I owned it for maybe 5 years and I was ready to sell it, make some money, flip it. He ended up doing some work, small work on that house. It didn't need much. And, the work was pretty good. And so when I left the company and hired him to do that, I then became his realtor because he didn't own any property. He was a first time home buyer, but he wanted to invest in real estate. And I know strategies to help someone who doesn't own any property to get at least 2 of them within a couple months. Okay. And so I helped him to get 2 properties within a few months, just kind of knowing the financial system and knowing how to finesse. And so, I scratched his back. First, he scratched my back with the work. I scratched his back as his realtor to help him get a couple properties under his belt. So he had something to move in and he converted one into a real estate investment rental property. And from there, me seeing his work and him actually finally leaving his job because he wanted to do the contracting full time, and he's licensed and bonded. That's very important. You want someone that's actually officially legit, licensed, actual company. You don't want to deal with, if you're doing something with your own personal house, that's cool. Call Pookie.
Yeah.
But, as far as a business goes, you definitely don't want to cut too many corners when it comes to your contractors. Long story short, he's done great work.
Okay.
And that's how our relationship was developed. And he's done several projects for me top to bottom. And he has his own workers, but, I'm also always trying to expand that because the more work he gets, the more clientele he gets outside of me.
Exactly.
And I can't be in the position waiting.
Yep.
And so, you definitely want to put in effort in always trying to find reliable, licensed contractors who are decent in price or fair in price. And that may come with time. Yep. You do a deal with someone and you pay them the next deal. When you call them again, they may be able to work with you a little bit more, or you might be able to, you can get creative when it comes to the financial side of it. So more than the money and the prices, it's really about the quality of work, the dependability. I've had issues with contractors when it comes to that, but that's like gold. That's like oil in the real estate industry, actually having contractors you could rely and depend on.
Now, when you go to buy these investment properties, I'm assuming you're getting them at an auction. How does that process work out? Like, as far as are you allowed to look at the home? Like, kind of have your, I don't know,
it's a sight unseen.
Yeah. Are you allowed to have your own inspector come in just to do a preliminary before you buy it? Or is it more so I'm just rolling the dice on this based on maybe the information that was given to me, and then I'm pretty much going to unearth whatever issues are there when it comes, and I'll just deal with them when we get to that point.
Right. So it's different ways that real estate investors get properties. I've gotten them from all of the ways so far, but you can deal with wholesalers, and we all know what wholesalers are. For anyone who doesn't, it's basically the middleman, someone who finds a property and sells the property to you, and they get a fee on top of that. So they're like an unlicensed realtor, if you ask me. But, so you can make some good relationships with some wholesalers locally, and, you might be able to find a decent deal that way. Typically, they're a little more expensive than you probably want them to be because they're building in their fee. The second way is to just go the traditional way of, what's on the market. Okay, now, right. The likelihood of you finding a flip at a great price on the market very low. And the reason why is because all the people that want to do it but don't really know what they're doing, and they're bidding them up. And so for me, I found the most success going to foreclosure sales. Okay. Now, the way that process works, it is sight unseen. Now, what happens is you'll get a list in advance of all the properties that are going up for sale. And so you can do your due diligence with figuring out exactly how much it's worth. Remember, we talked about that. So I could, if I have an address, I could figure out, okay, well, what is this house worth fixed up? Okay, because I'm gonna have to assume worst case scenario. I can't see it.
Yep.
So what I might do to be a little bit creative, I'll, look to see if they had any past listings. Maybe the house was sold 3 years ago and there's pictures, so I can get an idea of what it might look like.
Right.
The downside to going to an auction, aside from not being able to see the inside of the property, you could you could drive by it. So if you're really doing your due diligence, drive by the place, make sure it's not a
looks
tree.
like and all of that.
Exactly. You could get some sort of idea of the outside of it, but without knowing what's going on the inside, which is very risky, you also have to worry about getting the person that's in there out. Because the way the auction works, you're buying this debt from the bank. So you're taking on all the responsibility.
It's yours a problem now.
It's your problem.
If there's
now.
if it's occupied, you own that occupant as well.
Right. And you now you need to go through the eviction process to get them out.
Oh wow.
So you have a lot of risk when it comes to that.
So the bank is glad to you want it? Here you go. It's all yours.
Take it, because they got their money back for the most part.
Right.
And most of the time, they're going to sell it for at least what they owe. Most of the time. I've worked at the bank on that back end too, to kind of see how that goes in the foreclosure process. But long story short, you're going to have to take on the risk of getting the person out, take on the risk of not knowing what's going on the inside of that property. And that's why your numbers matter the most. I've had properties that I've gotten from the auction where, I bought the house and the person that was standing there was a tenant in the house, and they were cool, kind. I actually ended up selling them another one of my properties.
Turn it to a client.
Turned them into a client, sold them a property that I owned, and I only had to put 10 grand to fix it up, and I sold it and made a good profit on it. On the contrary, I bought houses.
That's not every deal.
No,
Yeah.
I bought a house, man. I had to do everything. It had foundation problems. It was mold everywhere. It was vacant. So I at least didn't have to deal with getting someone out, but it's been vacant for a whole year.
What problem would you rather have? It's like,
Vacant for a
I
reason.
think I might want to have the problem getting the person out versus these other problems that cost me more money.
About
Man,
that.
look.
Maybe, I don't know.
You might mess around, find one that's all dusted up, bust up, and the people don't want to leave. I I have some other investor friends who bought a house 2 years ago at the auction, and the person that's living there still haven't left because they know the rules and the tricks to avoid you being able to easily kick them out. So fortunately, they paid all cash. But just imagine if you had taken out a hard money loan and you're having to pay a mortgage on that property, and 2 years later, that person is still in that house, not trying to leave, and there's nothing you can do about it but continue taking them to court. But they appeal this and they file bankruptcy. So
Buying them more time.
it's a lot of risk when you're talking about going the auction route. I've been fortunate on most of mine, and it may not always be that way. One strategy that you can use if you do buy a house and someone's living in it, pay them to leave. Help them find another place,
A little incentive.
Right. I've had to do that.
Yeah.
I had to do that with a property of with the property in Stafford, and I had long-term tenants. I said, listen, man, I need you out by this date.
Yeah.
If you're out by this date, I give you 2 bands. But I need you out by this date, and I need all your stuff out.
Mess up your long-term money.
Exactly. That 2 bands will help you get situated. And guess what? He did what he needed to do. And the only reason why I did that was because I'm not just out here giving out money, but this was post-COVID, where you couldn't kick people out if they wasn't paying. Now he was paying, and I'm sitting back like, does he know that he don't gotta pay me? So with me wanting him to leave so that I could do what I needed to do to convert it into an Airbnb, I didn't want to shake the boat up too much, and I wanted to incentivize him to go without him completely turning. So again, strategies are everything in real estate. But that auction is you can get a good price. You're not having to compete with everybody on the market, but at the same time, you got to take on a risk.
So what is after you've purchased this home from the auction, after you've gotten a tenant out that might not want to go, what's the next step? Is it having your own, I guess, inspector come in to check the place, to assess it before we actually start the demolition work?
Excuse me. So yes, what I do, the moment that I win the bid at the auction, I'm driving over there. I don't own nothing yet because it's a 2-month process just for the court to say, all right, the deal's square. It's a legal process behind it. So when you win the bid, you're just one signature on the contract.
That doesn't necessarily mean you
don't own that property.
The bank is out of the woods. It's
right.
But are you started paying mortgage at that point?
No, because it's kind of like when you put in an offer on a house.
It hasn't fully closed. Yeah.
It's, it's
the
not
first 2 months or so that you don't really pay a mortgage, I guess.
Right. You're waiting to go to close.
Gotcha.
It's the same. And, people have certain redemption periods where they could contest the foreclosure. So, and then you got to wait on everything to go through the court system to finally get in front of the judge for him to sign off on the sale. And so there's a waiting period. Once that period is up, that's when you need to have the rest of the money. So between that 2-month period, 2.5 months, you want to align your hard money lenders and get everything organized and ready to go. Now, once you get that piece of paper that's saying, all right, you officially own the house, give us the rest of our money and you pay. At that point, you want to get access to the property. Okay. Try to see the inside of the property. Someone like me, I already went over there. I went over there saying, hey, I bought this property. I bought this property. I need to see what's up. But at that point, you can, I guess, officially say it's your home and work with whoever's in there to try to figure out the situation. But yes, you definitely want to bring a contractor through, let them, go through and get the quotes and the bids and see the nicks and crannies of the house. So,
yeah. Okay. So what's the a lot of times when people, like you said, they think of HGTV when they doing flips, like, oh, they're living a rock star life. But obviously you've already told us some of the ills of course, acquiring a property and then also trying to get maybe a tenant out in a situation where the home has been foreclosed on. But what are some of the things you run into when it comes to the bones of the home? I know there's a lot of I know there's a lot of surprises that come with that. What is the worst home that you have purchased to flip? Like, tell us what that experience was like.
It was the Upper Marlboro house was a tough one. Okay. Because even though it had mold everywhere and it was vacant and it was sitting for so long and everything needed to be replaced, everything you can physically see with your eyes needed to be replaced. Nothing could have been salvaged.
Only the bones of the home.
That's just the outside. That's just cosmetic in a sense. Every appliance, windows and floors and walls and stuff like that. But
a full gut job almost.
Right. But even the gut, you had to go deeper because after gutting it, you realize why there was mold, because there were foundation problems. And so that's, you don't walk into a property thinking you're going to have to literally cut a trench around the whole entire basement to waterproof a home and fix foundational problems. So that was a really big learning experience for me, because that project, I pretty much had to do just about everything on it. Now, I'm not going to say anything that could have went wrong, but you could kind of say that. Like, what more is it, outside of having to replace even the foundation, let alone everything. So it's a very risky business, man.
Now, would you say that you were glad that you went through that? Because anybody that's coming into the space to invest in real estate, of course, everybody just wants to win.
Right.
But isn't it sometimes, do you feel like you were glad you went through that loss because you learned, you said, look, this is the bottom. as far as how bad it can get with this home. Like I replaced everything from the foundation to the roof, everything. It can't get no worse than this. So maybe this is only up from here. And if I'm in this situation again, now I know how to navigate it because I done been to the bottom when it comes to having to replace everything in a home.
Yeah, I'll say that's with any business or anything. You know, the more that you have to do, the more that you can put in your back pocket for the next time. So you kind of get a playbook. Now I know exactly how much it's going to cost to fix this problem, or exactly how much it's going to cost to fix that problem. So for me, I would say yes. Once it's all said and done, and you're no longer stressing and pulling your hair out on, well, damn, I got to do this and I got to do that now. When it's all said and done, and again, that's the house where I got screwed on the appraisal and all that. You know, when it's over, it's a great thing to be able to put a lot of those experiences in your back pocket.
Right. Like
so
you said,
that
it
know
helped you
exactly
create your
what to do.
playbook. You're constantly adding to your playbook.
Right. Your
Every
tool
time
bag.
you're doing your tool bag, every time that you're doing a project. So
Right.
now you just you already know how to deal with that going into the next one.
Right.
So you know, because sometimes I've seen some people and they'll invest in their first property and everything will go perfect. Now they feel like they're ready to teach other people how to invest when it's like, well, you haven't been through all of the ups and downs. You don't have enough experience under your belt, you know, in this day and age. And I know you said that HGTV or you know, TV in general now makes it seem like
It's easy.
it's easy. You just go, you buy your property, you get your contractors, they're doing the work, we're just having fun, and we're just counting the money.
You're done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're done in 2 weeks, you know, like we don't have a clock on us or whatever. So, you know, but I'm glad that you mentioned that those losses help add to your playbook or your tool belt going forward.
Yep. And it also helps you to know what to look for next time. You know, it's funny, speaking of HGTV, right before I came here, I was watching one of those flipping shows with my girl. And, you know, it was this multi-unit, 4 units. And they estimated that it would cost them $130,000 to fix it. It was probably built in like 1919, one of those type of older style homes. But, you know, when they estimated 130,000, I looked at my girl, I said, it's going to cost more than that, you know? And she was like, it is? I'm like, yes, it is. And as the show went on, because they were pointing out the things they would have to replace, which was basically just the surface level stuff. But me knowing like this old house, no, are you considering plumbing
Old electric.
or electrical problems? Are you considering foundational issues? And so by the time that they were done, they ended up spending $160,000 instead of $130,000. But that just goes to show going through certain things helps you to, you know what to look for, know what to expect, and be much more well equipped to not have to, go through those same things
So you
again.
can't teach experience.
Right.
You just got to go through the fire.
Right. And that's always a good thing in any business, as we know.
All right. So now that you purchased the home, you had your contractors come in and fix it up and make it look shiny, neat. What's the next step after that?
The next step is, setting the right price. That's knowing what everything else is going for. You never want to be too high. You definitely don't want to be too low. Strategies with that. But, you just set your price and put it on the market. Now, everyone's going to be emotionally attached to their home.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you've done this. And for me, at least, I always had this expectation. Well, heck, the way I fix my house up, I'm going to get 10, 20 offers in the first 10 minutes, and guess what? I sat for a week and only had 2 people come to see the property.
Feels a little hurt.
Philip was a little hurt. I blamed it on the market. They don't know what they're doing out here in this area.
It's like you got your new fit on when you go to school, and no girls ain't looking like, oh, what's up this fit,
Right.
man?
You see these 574s?
Yeah. 574.
Only the real would know that.
Took it back.
All the way back. I mean, we old. But yeah, so just really setting that price, getting the market's response, and hopefully doing pretty well on the deal.
Good. Okay. So and I think that goes back to what you were talking about earlier about the appraisal part and how the appraisal went for that. Can we also talk about pivot? Where from there?
Let's talk about, so what is, I would say, what are some mistakes you've made in your career that you wish, maybe, do you have any regrets or things that you say, hey, I wish I could have did this a little better?
So many. And I'll just touch on a few of the mistakes. One, sometimes we can jump out there a little too soon. And nothing's more important than knowledge. You want to have all the knowledge before you jump out there, because it'll save you some mistakes. It'll save you some money. And so I definitely recommend, knowing what you're doing before you try to do it. Yeah, it's always okay to try to learn on the fly, but it's much better to be prepared. And, that's kind of some issues that I've ran into, and I've had to learn things the hard way, just like any business. But learning the hard way could cost you money.
Right.
Learning the hard way could cost you stress. Another thing that I wish I would have done is not so much relying on others. Now, every business is different, but at least in this business, or any business, if you're the owner and you're running it, you need to know all aspects of it. You don't have to be an expert at everything, but you need to have a general idea and understanding, because if you don't, you're leaving yourself room to be taken advantage of by others.
Right.
And I've dealt with, situations in regards to that as well, where maybe you're relying on others to do something, and yet they looking out for themselves and not looking out for you. And so, I think a way to kind of avoid that is, like I said, knowledge, man. You want to educate yourself as best as you can in the field that you're in, as wide as you can. You don't have to know everything, but you need to know. So yeah, that's definitely some advice on some of those mistakes and errors.
And one thing I wanted to go back to is the last part of flipping a home. So you sell the house, you make your money. How much is capital gains? When does that come into effect? And how do you handle that situation?
So that's the worst part about flipping a home, in my opinion. Or the worst part about owning a business is taxes. Okay. Now, everyone has different strategies. Some people, will set aside a certain amount, knowing the tax rate, and just kind of put that aside as if they don't own it.
Yep.
Some people make the biggest mistake and just keep on rolling. For me, even though this probably isn't the best strategy, and I'm still early in my career, I'm early in the game. And so organization is important. And that's some things that I'm working on getting a little bit better at, especially when it comes to that. But for me, I try not to spend no money.
Yeah.
And when tax time come, I just get hit in my chin and cry. But, I personally try to save everything. And I don't mean literally save, I'm big on investing, period. And so, a lot of the time I'm always trying to make the money that I've made continue to work for me in different areas. But, that's how I've dealt with the whole tax situation. But you have to get that right, because the last enemy that you want is the IRS. And when you're making money, they will come.
Oh, yeah.
What about, I've heard some people use the strategy of like deferring the taxes. And is that basically you just keep sweeping in the rug and keep sweeping in the rug, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's different strategies out there. One of the popular ones in real estate is that 1031 exchange, where you, in a sense, kick the can down the road. What that basically is let's say you want to avoid having to pay taxes, and you sell a property, you make $100,000 on the property, and you don't want to have to pay that massive tax bill. And you're going to reinvest the money anyway on the next project. What you can do is you can do what you call this 1031 exchange. And long story short, as long as you use that money, and it has to be all of it, okay? As long as you use that money within a certain period of time to be reinvested, then you don't have to pay taxes on that income. Now, that's not something that I've utilized, only because, you're kicking a can down the road. And so let's say you make 100,000 for 5 years, and each year you do the 1031 exchange, but on that 5th year, it comes time to pay taxes. You're paying taxes on 500,000.
Yep. Got a bigger can now.
Right. And so for me, it's like, okay, I can, if I want to avoid it temporarily, and maybe there will be a time for those type of strategies. But for me, as of right now, I just deal with it on an annual basis.
Good. All right, so from here, I want to kind of pivot to other investments, crypto, stocks, NFTs. So let's start with NFTs, man. What's your personal opinion on NFTs? Are they a scam? Is it a Ponzi scheme? What do you think?
Because every time I think of NFTs, I always think of like the pixelated monkey or something. the little
Bored Ape.
pictures. Yeah, whatever.
For me, man, so I'm somebody who I like to sprinkle a little bit everywhere. So even if I don't necessarily, fully, I'm not gonna say believe in something. I'm not gonna put money in something I don't believe in, but some things I'm much more motivated to do than others. I own some NFTs, man. Not no Bored Apes or anything like that, but some that I think might do okay. For instance, the NBA put out these NBA Top Shot NFTs where you could buy little clips. Marvel does their own where they'll put out little Spider-Mans. You got the comics. And so things like that I think might actually have some value in the future, I'll buy, I'll have. But honestly, in my opinion, I think it's probably 98% scam.
Because I'm saying, where's the value in it? First of all, it's not tangible.
Right.
And where's the value in it if I can easily Google it and have that same clip you have? So
Copy
what
and
makes
paste.
your NFT so unique? That's my...
Right. I understand that. And, what gives it value is that it's actually limited, whatever it is. So let's just say it's a picture of Spider-Man from Marvel and they put out 100,000 of them and minted 100,000 and you can own 100,000.
What if I screen capture your NFT? I have it now.
You have it, but you don't have the real thing. And so honestly, value is whatever we all agree on and say is valuable. I don't care what it is. That's what the dollar bill is. It's an idea that we're all agreeing upon. So, if everyone agrees that this NFT is of value, then it's going to be valuable. I just think, like I said, 98 to 99% of them going to fade away.
Yeah.
So then you're basically saying, hey, I'll invest a little bit here, but I'm not gonna break the bank and invest every dollar
ride the
here
wave.
because but I'm gonna put a little bit here and see what happens. I'm gonna test the waters with it, but I'm not I'm not breaking the bank for it.
I believe more in crypto. I believe very little in the NFTs. Much more in crypto, but even that, I own cryptocurrency.
Okay.
I believe cryptocurrency will be a major part of the future. I believe more in the technology behind cryptocurrency. I'm just skeptical about NFTs, depending on the NFT.
Yeah. And that's understandable to be skeptical about something that's kind of people are riding a wave of now. Most people, I think the average person generally, when they see something that's the new wave, they want to hop on no matter what, because most people are followers.
Right.
Versus, somebody like yourself, you'll sit back and say, wait a minute. Okay, everybody's running to all these NFTs. Let me do my homework, because the average person is just running to it. Let me sit back and see what it is. I'm interested, but not that interested. Like I don't want to just jump on because everybody else is jumping on. I want to make a educated decision about this.
I think that's similar to like crypto. When people are coming out with their own coins and these coins, people are trying to ride the wave on it. But in reality, they're getting finessed to some degree.
Some don't know what they're doing.
Some don't know what they're doing, and some of these coins are actually fake. So they push these coins all the way up to the top, and the person who made the coin takes the money and runs.
Yeah, right.
So pivoting over to crypto, what type of crypto do you invest in? How long have you been investing, and where do you see it going?
So I was late, and I got in Bitcoin when it was at 9,000, and I think that's late. I look at that as late.
It's at like 30,000, 35,000 now.
Right,
so
and it went up to 60, so I done made some money. But I wish I would have. I actually first heard about it maybe when it was around like $1,000 or between $1,000 and $3,000, and I just kind of wrote it off. This ain't nothing. Yeah. But when I actually took the time to learn a little bit more about it, I realized no, this isn't just nothing. And so I got into Bitcoin. That was the first crypto I ever purchased, and I got into it when it was around $9,000. Yeah, and I rode that bad boy up all the way to 60. Yeah. I felt like a genius. Yeah. Now, other cryptos that I own, the only two that I believe in long term is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the two that I believe in. Now, do I think Other ones such as Cardano, Solana, will they have a place? Of course, they'll have a place, in my opinion. But those are the two big ones for me. I kind of view Bitcoin as gold, storage of value, and I look at Ethereum like oil, the different things that you can do with it, and I'm a strong believer in the technology behind it all.
And that's the blockchain, right?
Yes, I think that it could change everything. Now at the same time, I don't think that this is something that's going to just blow up in the next 5 years. So for me, as far as like percentages, I'm more 25% crypto and 75% stocks.
Yep. And let's go over to stocks. So, what got you into stocks? And what type of stocks you're investing in, and why?
So when I was working at Navy Federal and I was really getting into the real estate game and learning about the real estate game, I had a coworker, and he used to trade options. And
everybody loves those options.
Right. I hate them, but he used to trade options. And so I'm sitting at work, working beside him. We both bringing home $1,500 checks, $1,200 checks, something like that. But I look at this man and he just made $1,000 in a day. And I'm like, wait, how are we both working here?
Houseway.
Right. And you just made $1,000 today. Yeah. And so me and him start kind of dealing with each other on the options. And just like any, we've all gone through it where, we don't know nothing about it, but somebody knows something about it. So we try to do it. And then one day we lose money, and then one day we make money, and you just go through that vicious cycle. And of course, ultimately I didn't make money until I, started to really learn more about it. And I want to give a shout out to Market Mondays, Earn Your Leisure, Troy Rashad, Ian Dunlap, and I have no issue. I'm no expert when it comes to stocks, but I've learned so much from Ian, and it wasn't until I started really tuning in where I broke out of that mindset of the quick flip, and I've come to learn the real path to wealth is longevity.
And he preaches that all day. He doesn't look for quick flips. He looks for the long term,
slow but steady.
Right. And also investing in the best companies. Yeah. And so from that point out, I probably started really tuning in maybe about a year ago. And that's when I decided to start investing much more heavily into stocks. And at this point, it may be a little longer than a year ago, but at this point, I fully believe in investing our money in the stock market, because even though I have a ton of my money in cash because I deal with real estate, and that's my bread and butter. You got to have a bread and butter now. Okay. And I need capital to do that. But any capital that I don't need for that is going into stocks, stocks.
Putting those dollars to work.
Right. And any extra money that I make on the side in any type of way, I'm buying stocks.
And what companies are you looking at?
My different ones, but my portfolio right now, I love Tesla. Honestly, I love Tesla, y'all. Like Tesla, because I believe in the future of it so much, and I know it's much more than a car company. And I believe in the CEO. That's one of my favorite stocks. Of course, Apple and Microsoft. Shout out to Ian. I really like those stocks. Home Depot. I like Home Depot. Yeah, because I'm in that business. Yeah. And where's their competition other than Lowe's? We talk about the human aspect of certain things. At what point are we not going to need Home Depot?
So you're heavily invested in things that have something to do with kind of infrastructure, like things that we need, like Microsoft isn't going, like anything
that we're staples in the community.
They're staples in the community, it's going to be here. It's vital to our everyday way of life.
Right. And that are at the top of their game. And there's a few other stocks that I like. that I own, and some I might be in temporarily, even though I try not to get too involved in the day trading and all of that. I'm trying to stick more to just buying the greatest companies that I love and holding it
Just
long
sitting on it.
term.
Right.
So yeah, those are some of the stocks that I like.
Okay.
Yeah, Google has a plan in down the road to do a 20-to-1 split. So if you have one Google stock, they're going to split into 20. So I think a Google stock right now might be like $2,000.
2,650. I own Google.
See,
I
so
own
so that's
Google.
going to split it down 20 ways. That way, it's more affordable, so you can buy some. So
buy
that's
portions
you
of
can
the
buy
stock.
portions of it, or you can buy a whole stock. So it's whatever it is divided by 20 is what the new price is going to be.
Okay.
So that way people can actually get into that stock. A surprisingly expensive one is Chipotle. Chipotle is like
Really?
at $2,000 a share. Yeah, so it's amazing.
Yep, I've been in and out of plenty, but I do like Google right now, especially because the stock split that's coming. But it's a phenomenal company. Their numbers are amazing. They got YouTube, man. YouTube is such a money maker.
Yeah.
And so, you can never really go wrong with buying great companies at a great price. I'm a big picture guy. I'm a macro guy. I don't, I try to figure out the easiest way to do things. And for me, if you want to make money in the stock market, and I'm no financial advisor, don't sue me. But you buy the best companies when they're at their lowest. And when it drops even lower, you add more to it.
You see the vision.
You never have too much of your money in there.
Right.
You always want to have some money on the side in case it goes down. But, everybody jumps on something when it's up and when it's high,
And
when
it's
everyone's
going back
talking
to
about
popular, yeah, the wave.
Right.
They want to, yeah.
We're in a period right now where stocks are down, and I just want them to go lower. I mean, I don't want nobody to lose their money, but go lower. Please go lower, because I always look at it like this. It ain't one man in this room who, if somebody came to you right now and said, "Hey, I got the brand new Louis Vuitton purse right now for 50% off." Well, I ain't gonna say a guy, I'm gonna say the Louis store
Okay.
had a 50% off sale right now for 30 minutes as you walk past that. I don't care. I don't care. You don't wear no purses. Your girl might not even wear that purse, but it's not a man in this room who would not buy that purse.
Because you can flip it
Yeah. I'm looking to make money off of it.
So why wouldn't you buy Microsoft at 30% off?
and drop it.
Well, that also goes to a point then, because a lot of times with with talking about investing in crypto and stocks and flipping real estate, most people that don't work in those fields or they would just work their regular 9-to-5 job, they feel like that's hard to attain. It feels like they feel like it's not in the same atmosphere as them. They feel like it's really difficult to achieve, or even just to even get started in that, because they're gonna say, well, I work a 9-to-5 job. I don't really have a lot of money left after I pay all my bills. So what do you say to that for the average person that, wants to be able to make more money, but it just seems like it's too far of a grasp, too far of a reach to get into that?
Right. The first thing I would say is learn. The Bible states, God says, my people perish due to a lack of knowledge. Right. And when you just start thinking about us as Black people, a lot of knowledge has been kept from us. Okay. And so the best thing that you can do right now without spending a dollar, thanks to the internet, you can learn. We need to stop learning about so much about what's going on in Hollywood and, sports and, all of that.
It's a place for entertainment, but there's a time
it's a time and place for that. But we also should spend a lot more of our energy trying to learn. So the first thing I would say is definitely educate yourself on that thing. If you have a desire to do that, but you just feel like it's so far away, take some time to learn about it. And once you're comfortable enough to, maybe take some baby steps, use some good strategies for that. One is dollar cost averaging. I'll tell you a quick story. I read a book and it was talking about just long-term investing. And it talked about a particular guy who was a janitor. And after working for some time, he bought himself a small house, just a small house. That's all he could really afford. And this janitor, he died. Maybe, I don't know, it didn't say the age, but let's just assume 80 years old. And when he died, he left his family $9 million. And everyone was confused as hell as to how this man, who they all knew, who lived such a humble lifestyle, ended up leaving $9 million. And the way that he did that was when he got his little check, whatever little bit that he had left, he invested in a simple index fund like the S&P 500, a conglomerate of stocks. Okay. That's very conservative, that you could see the history of it. That's the beauty about stocks. You don't got to guess. You can see the history of it. Pull up a chart. Look at a 5-year on Microsoft and Apple, and you'll see 500% return. But he invested whatever little bit of money he had consistently. And because of compound interest, because of dividends, because of the market going up at the same time, even making such a small amount of money and living a humble lifestyle, he was able to amass that much wealth. And so I encourage anybody, it doesn't matter how much money you make. One, educate yourself. And two, get that quick flip idea out of your mind and be willing to invest for the long haul. And three, be consistent with it. And we can all get rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight like that.
Yeah. The turtle wins the race. So was it this the turtle and the hare? At the end of the day, so I always believe in that mentality. Slow but steady.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but how we met in high school, but it was also not high school. But it's just crazy that we're sitting here now because we all started. I mean, flipping burgers in high school.
Flipping burgers.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then, our brother as well. Like, it's just funny that now we're sitting here, that was back in like
2007 for me.
Like, I was a junior when I started here in 03. And I left in 06. So I think I was a senior. I forgot. I might have been my first year of college.
Was Tony the manager?
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, he was. But I was there before he was. But it's just funny now for all the people at home that, we met, on the grill.
Right. Working at McDonald's.
And that's not a knock to anybody that does that profession, but it's just we were teenagers. We didn't know where we was going to be at 15, 20 years. We were just going, just going through life, just young teenagers. We didn't know what the world had to offer and things like that. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think that we had some funny moments there too. But I think that, it's also, we're talking about ways to invest and ways to go forward. But I always want to, I think it's always important to stay humble and remember where you came from too. Right. Your humble beginnings. And that's where we came from, 15, 20 years ago. So right. I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. I think that's cool too. Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody you want to shout out? Anybody you want to give some props to?
Sure. Because somebody might be watching this one day. First things first, want to give a shout out to my brother-in-law who gave me that book. Because if it wasn't for me reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I was a man without direction. And I was okay with the little that I had. And that kind of took the scales off my eyes and made me realize, wait, I could do anything or be anything I want to be. I'm not excluded from this because I didn't grow up in a house that pushed education. I didn't, or at least higher education. And I dropped out of community college. And so, reading that book completely changed the direction of my life. So that's, I guess, 2 shout outs. One to the book, but the other to the brother-in-law. I also want to give a shout out to the person who helped me to advance my real estate career as far as investing. If it wasn't for me running into that guy, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today, years later, doing what I'm doing, having my time, being able to, live life in a sense the way that I want to live it. I'm not rich by any means, trying to get in there. But I definitely want to give a shout out to him, despite how any and everything worked out. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to those guys over at Market Mondays. I'm a big believer in education. I probably spend most of my time learning. I like learning. Everybody don't like learning, but that's a hobby of mine. And so I spend a lot of time learning. And, I just give a big shout out to them, specifically Ian, just for shifting my investing mindset, because I think that that's going to be very, very, very profitable for me moving forward in the future. Where you're investing your money instead of letting it sit and allowing it to work for you. So, that's just a couple of the shout outs that I like to give.
So to close this out, I want to do a quick, what we call a speed round. And it's just random questions, not about investment. It's just about you. So the first one is, are you a 5 a.m. workout type of guy, or are you a night owl?
I wake up early.
You're early bird.
I'm an early bird. I like getting that worm.
Early bird gets the worm.
I like to do everything early. I like to work out early. I'm starting to work out a little bit more, but definitely early.
All right. Next one is go-go or rap. Which one?
A podcast.
Like I said,
Where I can
education.
learn something.
All right. Jordans or Kohans?
I don't know what Kohans
Oh
is.
man,
so-
dress shoes, man. They dress
then
shoes,
Jordans,
man.
man.
Jordans.
Yeah.
All right. So if you had to pick between Kobe, Jordan, or LeBron, who would you pick and why?
Kobe, just because that was more my era. I didn't watch a ton of Jordan, even though I have a ton of respect for him. But Kobe was my favorite player.
Mamba mentality.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now it's Kevin Durant, but Kobe was my favorite player.
All right. Top 3 artists of all time. It can be rap, R&B, country.
Good one. Yeah. Mine are going to be just for me. It's not going to be like some, this person. Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Pure
That's
gold.
all you used to talk about back when we were.
Yeah, I like Wayne. Yeah, I mean, we're going to give him credit. Drake. He took the torch out to Wayne.
Light skin.
And Jay-Z.
Okay. All right. Rate these: McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. Which one's first, second, third?
Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Throw Burger King off that list.
Really?
What?
Ultra trash.
Over
Ultra trash.
Burger King is off the not.
You couldn't pay me to. First off, I
They got
don't
better
even want
fries.
McDonald's. I don't even want McDonald's. We worked there too long.
I know, but
I
then you
made too
rated
many
them higher,
concoctions.
and you rate and you rated them
Sugar
higher.
water.
Yeah, man, Burger King is terrible.
Favorite show of all time?
Game of Thrones, easy money.
Game
Even
of
though I don't
Thrones.
like the way that it ended, but
I heard nobody liked the way it ended. I wasn't a big Game of Thrones fan, but my wife is. She said she
I don't know
she
why
couldn't
they
stand
did
how
that.
it ended. Yeah,
they how you gonna mess up something so great?
maybe it's an HBO thing because I didn't like how The Sopranos ended either.
Yeah, that's right.
Fade
I
to
like
black.
that show though. I like Sopranos too.
No Wire. You know why I say The Wire?
Yeah, but The Wire ended. I feel like they could have
It took it closure. Yeah, it gave it good closure. Malcolm X or Martin?
Martin,
Why Martin over Malcolm?
which one was more effective?
Malcolm.
I disagree.
All right, we can talk about that later.
We can talk about
We
it.
can talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that when we hang up these mics.
Yeah, man. Trump, Biden, or Bush?
God dang. ultra trash. I'm not answering that, man. Nah.
And what's 3 goals this year for you as a business? What are those 3 goals? That's like, I want to get these done.
Okay. One, a podcast.
Okay.
And it's more so of a hobby, but it's teaching people about God. That's a big part of who I am. And that's something that I think is scarce in today's society. And so I like to, get that up and going. So that's one big thing. It's going to be called God's World Podcast. I don't know when it's going to drop, but, currently working on that. So that's a major goal of mine. Just to put a little bit more on that. It's like I made a promise to God when I was a younger man, when I said, hey, if you bless me and allow me to work for myself and have all my time, I'll teach, and I'll teach for free. And so I just kind of look at that as holding up my end of the bargain. Second goal, I do want to get some Airbnbs going more, because I'm at a point now where I prefer, consistent cash flow over chunks of money on a flip.
Yeah.
So I want to definitely increase my portfolio, specifically in Florida. And the third goal, just more just personal relationships with people, and, my lady, and, just maybe doing more with family, things like that, the real things that matter in life.
Yeah, that's what you do it for at the end of the day.
Yep.
And
For sure.
Last question is, what's one fun thing you want to do that's kind of on your bucket list this year? Not related to work, just one enjoyable thing to kind of treat yourself.
For this year,
Yeah.
let me go back to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Bahamas. The Bahamas has everything that I like. I love water. I like to play a little craps. They got a nice casino out there.
Okay.
And I like relaxing. So
Okay.
I like to go to Bahamas.
So what about blackjack? You do blackjack at all?
Nah, if it ain't craps, I don't want it.
If it ain't craps, that's
I don't want that. I'm gonna waste my money.
That's
if it
that PG County education right there. Yeah, playing craps in the back of the school
Or the
Tonk.
lunchroom.
Playing tonk.
ain't. Not tough.
Learn how to play tonk before you learn how to add.
Oh man.
Run me my $5.
Well, Darius, we really appreciate you coming on the
yeah.
show. It's been a pleasure. You know, we hope to have you back again. Let's give you a round of applause.
Appreciate it.
You know,
Only got one round. Come on, bro.
I'm
messing with you, bro.
You want to be over here like this? Like, let me give you a little snaps or something.
Nah, no. I appreciate you guys
Oh, yeah.
having me on here, man. It means a lot to me. I think I've told you that, Joe, but even you, bro, like I appreciate you having me on this show.
Oh, this is just the beginning. I think we've barely cracked the surface. We got a lot more to talk about. So there will be more.
I believe it. And if I could add any value, let me know, because I'm all for that. And that's something that we have to do. We have to, add value to one another. And it's a lot that you can gain from just adding value to someone else.
Gotcha. All right.
Well, on that note, we're signing out.
All right.